let's get it.
My name is Emily Hove. I am filling in for Heather Cook, who normally hosts this and does an incredible job. So I'm going to try and do her a little bit of justice here. But more importantly, aside from me, we've got some incredible special guests joining us today. We've got Augustine joining from India and Seyi joining from Africa, and they are going to give us and wow and dazzle us some talks on actually supporting and running user groups in kind of like against all odds, we'll say. So I don't want to, let's upstage their thunder here, but that's what's going to happen today. So I want to just run through some of the rules of the road here. We do have our digital event code of conduct that we adhere to. So basically, as all of you are probably aware, Microsoft's mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And that's what we're all about here. With MGCI is we really want to empower the community to go out there and empower others. And with that, we just want to make sure that everybody is a good citizen when they join our meetings. We give respect to the speakers and we give respect in the chat. So please just be a good citizen and enjoy this session that we're providing for all of you today. Also want to mention that all of our general sessions are recorded, and so just please be aware of that, and they are available to watch the recording after the sessions. So with that, I'm going to just give you a sneak preview of our agenda. We've got some announcements. We will be giving some updates from our subcommittees. We've got one of our subcommittee members joining us tonight, and then we'll hand it over to Augustine and Seyi on our special topic. I'll talk a little bit about some of the events that are upcoming, and then if anybody has any questions or wants to bring anything to the table for discussion, we can do that as well. As always, we want to give a big thank you to our Microsoft MVPs, our most valuable professionals, and our regional directors for that matter. Many of them are members of MGCI, and we really appreciate all the goodness that you are doing and bringing to the world. And of course, we want to congratulate all of our new MVPs. So welcome to the program, and really use and leverage all of the other MVPs and RDs out there to help support you. And we just appreciate all the work that you're doing out there. So one big thing this month, and we're really excited to mention it, and a big thank you to Russ, who was helping to drive this initiative. We have an updated mission and tagline here for MGCI. So I will take a minute and read that to you. The Microsoft Global Community Initiative is all about empowering global Microsoft communities with the tools, the training, and resources to create impactful events and amplify diverse voices. Learn, share, grow is the tagline. So for those of you listening for the first time, it really is about empowering the community and giving the community everything they need to be successful out there. If you're joining for the first time, or if you haven't already, we definitely want to encourage you to join our mailing list. We share a lot of best practices, give a lot of tips and tricks on how to actually deliver and support the community through trainings. And there's a lot of areas to be connected with other community members out there. And with that, I am going to hand it off to the first of our special guests. Augustine, do you want to take over and talk about scaling user groups?
Hey, thanks, Emily. Can you hear me? So who are we? Hackerspace Mumbai is one of Bombay's largest tech meetup groups, right? And we're hosting its longest running tech meetup. That's almost from 2012. And along the way, we have racked up more than 100 meetups, actually inching towards 150. But we started like any tech community group small. We are still a community-run meetup. And as that, we don't get in our early stage any sponsors, right? We had to do it on our own steam. So there was no food, there were no beverages, there's no swags, no t-shirts to give out. So our ideal attendee profile is this person. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, yeah, we did start small. We are like very few. You can count on your fingertips, the members. But then we've scaled it up, right? Right up to conferences, a huge conference, 5-star venues. Case in point, just our last meetup was the VS Code Dev Days, which was held last month. We had more than 400 registration. We had to stop the registration. In fact, the system couldn't take that much for a venue capacity of just 40 at Microsoft Mumbai. And what really draws them? Have a look at these two pics. I don't know about you, but the one on the right, it seems more aesthetic, more appealing, more thrilling, right, to be the core. And I presume most of you have seen this movie. The thing that stands out about it is it's got actually a lot of awards, like the best Oscar the Oscar for the best picture, for the best original screenplay, and the worst supporting actor role, right? And why I brought all these together is the content that draws them. Now, for a place like Bombay, where the commute for most folks to any venues is usually an hour, hour and a half, the decision to attend those meetups will be based on how on a team which they are interested in, the speakers that are joining in, and the expert level of those meetups. And that's very crucial in pulling them in. You got to make sure there's a good, like any good movie, a good story, a good screenplay, how you kind of structure them. And obviously, they're really good speakers. There has to be some actors really should pull that off. And that's what they're coming to see, the whole package deal. And a little filling up, for a commute that will to and fro last like more than 2 hours. Yeah, you should work this. And we used to actually have our meetups on Sunday because then when we started out in 2012 to 2014, startups in Bombay used to work in Saturdays. So we used to have it on Sundays. It's gotten much better in the last 7-8 years. So now we host them only on Saturdays because that gives most of the folks a chance to attend the meetups, right? Now, this is a famous Bollywood line spoke by a film, almost like, I'll be back from Terminator. A crucial part that places in India, especially in Bombay, you got to be very mindful of the local culture. So when you're scheduling an event, you have to look at, okay, what could be the possible factors that could affect the attendance or the turnout. Case in point, our last VS Code meeting was actually scheduled from outside. The original date was actually coming on the 10th day of Ganesh Utsav, which happens to be like one of the most crowded. It doesn't appear on any as a bank holiday or a public holiday. So folks, if you just look at the calendar, it's going to be free, nothing's there. But a native Mumbaikar will know, yes, you're not going to venture on that day because you're going to get stuck in traffic snarls and will not able to reach the venue. That means you have to show a roster of events. So taking a little bit of insights to look at how we are going about and creating these meetups. So what happens is, it signals to the ecosystem at large that you are looking at the longer game. You are scheduling a series of meetups or around a certain teams that will attract speakers. We'll make sure also potential registrants pencil this in the schedule, right? We're doing on a weekend, so we want to make sure that it has a good chance of turning up for these events. Now, the furthest man-made object in space is actually Voyager. Obviously, it didn't reach to our ends of, billions of miles away just on its own steam, so to say. It used the gravitational pull of our larger planets, right, in our solar system to propel it that far. We used as a slingshot. And that's what we did starting. We actually collaborated, partnered with existing tech groups like the Debian tech groups, right, the engineering colleges, students, guilds, and all, collaborated with them. But here's the crucial thing. We made sure we maintained the rigor of a monthly cadence. We never wavered that off at the start itself. So it's signal to the ecosystem. Yeah, these guys are there. They're consistent. They come up, they appear, and they're going to be there. So that kind of attracted. It will always start slow. There will be like a J curve kind of thing. So there'll be a few meetups. You will see only a few guys. Then there's an inflection point. I can't tell you when it just shoots up and people are there, because your past reputation, they've seen, the folks are coming, the speakers see most of them. This is having a consistent cadence of meetups happening across, and then they, this is not going to be a fly-by-night, or it could like anytime, hey, this meetup is canceled. We never cancel meetups unless it's like an act of God kind of thing. Sometimes we get, that's why we mostly don't do in our monsoon, because It gets washed out literally. Okay, that's what important stuff. Now, any community has a kernel of regular committed attendees over which it revolves and which actually powers that ecosystem. And what we try to do is also make sure that they enjoy a certain privilege because of that. They have the first stab at it. We are always houseful now. So, but we are always grateful for the folks who have stood with us from the start, right? And they've helped actually make sure that meetups are well attended. They also got the word out that this meetup is happening. So they've helped in a lot of ways. We give that back. More importantly, if you've seen the previous slide, we talk about the roster of events and a particular team, they get to vote on these teams. They literally drive the agendas for the coming months. So they are having ownership of the community, a sense of ownership of the community, and see in which direction they want to see moving forward. Now, take the case in point. I'm actually in Mangaluru right now. There's a huddle room because we're going to start the Spin to Imagine Cup, right? This is for students and all. And the important thing is that, just like in US, you have, the San Francisco, New York, Seattle, like pulling in all the tech conferences and all the tech speakers happening. The same thing happens in India too. It's like Bombay, Bangalore, or Delhi gets the lion's share. As a open source company, as a tech company, we ensure that we have been open, diverse, inclusive right from the get-go. And that means just not for Bombay, we try to break this to tier 2 and tier 3 cities because we want to democratize the access, to cutting-edge technologies. And this is our endeavor to do that. And for that, we've also now kind of partnered with the other OSS communities. This is how we have grown up. So make sure that this kind of spark of knowledge of tech and all are also in other places and there are talents out here. The only thing was you're out there that the thing about the latest technologies, it allows anybody to come in and get a stab at making a mark for themselves in the tech field. But across this around 14 years and 100 meetups, I've seen also other meetup groups out there. The thing that stands out, hopefully you all have seen Kung Fu Panda, the most important ingredient for community is love, right? You got to love what you're doing. You got to love to meet people. You got to love to teach technologies, also to learn technologies. More importantly, you want to give a platform, right? You want to love to give a platform for folks to showcase their talent, like speakers and all. Where they've used actually our meetup as stepping stone, for larger tech conferences. And it really makes me proud to see them, headlining these tech conferences. Because I've literally seen them grow, like from nobody's a really great speaker at the start of the care when they start out. You can see the stutter, those filler words and go on. But as they get to more on the meetup, you see they're very fluent, they're very sophisticated, they get very experienced in giving those talks. And that really, really makes me happy to see them, shine on that big stage. And that's the most important thing, I think, so for any company. So you are the river that will float a lot of boats, and hope you love doing that. Yeah, that's my talk, Emily. Over to you, Seyi.
Hey, thank you, Augustine. And it's really exciting to hear your story. My story, coming from thriving from all the environments and trying to build a community, formidable community within the ecosystem. Now, a little background of my environment, that means the West Africa around our sector, especially from the community. Our target were about 10 people. We're actually trainers that came up about 10, not 8 years ago, and said, we want to make it different. Now, the passion was there. And the passion was to be able to create an ecosystem that can strive, that can be able to work against all the odds that we are facing. One of the odds is that we have less penetration when it comes to people having access to affordable materials or tools like smartphones and having laptops. And sometimes our infrastructure in our event area might be very unadvanced in quotes, but we still want to move ahead. Now, that brought us up to build what I call a formidable team. Spark with what? Passion. 2, ability to make difference. 3, to show what we call bonding. Next slide, please. Bonding, because we actually need to know, because sometimes without hearing people's story, you might not be able to understand the journey. The journey for us now, the user group now, it's over 10,000 across West Africa. It started way back in Ikeja with 10 people. Now we have it across Ghana, Ivory Coast, Lome, all the Western coast. Now, we built an intentional, capable environment for ourselves. We look at all our adversity, all our challenges, which is typically like infrastructure, availability of using good tools, conferences, and we try to transform ourselves by creating what we call a vision. And the vision is to meet people at the grassroots, because we feel that everybody should be empowered. So in the next slide, you see that understanding our challenge gave us like an outlook to be able to look at how we are going to navigate through all this odd, because we know that we are limited in resources. Sometimes we hardly have access to Microsoft Office in our community. What we do is to do what we call a bond funding, where everybody put your 10 kobo, your $10, your $1 together. And the passion for everybody is to create an ecosystem that can enhance engagement. And that makes us, sometimes we do several posts on our own credit to be able to enhance engagement. Now, the mentorship aspect is limited, but over the years, over the past 5 years, we have created a bond within the community. And fortunate for us, we are now gaining height in several tech industry. Some of people that came out from this community are working in Microsoft, some of them in Bank of America. So a lot of skilling was done in building through this difficult situation. However, our passion remained the same. Our vision to make change remained the same. Then we enhance this by making sure that we create a community. Now, in the next slide, that itself brings us a purpose. Now, what we did was that we made ourselves clear, especially when we started with the regular people, Kazim Adegboyega, myself, people like, she's now a regional director, Jumoke, Ola Jumoke. All of us came together and we had this clear vision. What was the vision? Ensure that we have purpose of transformation within our ecosystem. We went to the extent that we were consistent. In our small user group, we keep having meetings. We keep striving to engage. We keep striving to bring our funds together because we know our resources limited. And that's made us to start getting engaged with the community. Most of us were given a award of MVP. We are trainers from our background. We start using this as our engagement tool to enhance this capability. So we created a purpose, we built a purpose, and we move with a purpose. The next slide. Now, after that, we started strategizing. What was our strategy? One, we started small, 10 of us. Now, we spread across several product groups. We spread across a professional group. And now we are spread across most West African coasts. We had our last summit in Ghana. And how did it happen? Everybody on the West Coast, we had a way. We moved ourselves from Nigeria and Lagos. Some people moved themselves from Sierra Leone because there was that passion. Remember, we started with building purpose, creating vision, and enhancing love and togetherness. Then we start doing what we call partnership. Now, we noticed that for us to move this scaling process, we must partner with people. So we started partnering with companies like local Microsoft. We partner with some Microsoft partners. We also partner with individuals that can leverage on understand. And the ripple effect is that the skilling that we get, the capability of bonding people with the right tools increase. People start donating laptops. People start donating books. And that also elevates the success story we have. I can tell you a lot of success story that we have now, that we have great speakers that even work in Microsoft and even leverage Microsoft platform. We have people that work as C-level IT professionals across. So the bond that started with a small vision, move by engaging in strategic partnership, then elevating, because we know that we partner with so many people in our community, especially the NGOs, the non-governmental organizations like Rotary, like churches in the community, because people, we know our limitation. We need to move ahead, and that brings us that bond. And that itself build what we call this mentorship that can engage people to build themselves as leaders. Everybody in his own group become a leader, natural leader. And that's why you call for an event, you see thousands of people coming up to engage with you. Because our last summit in Ghana, we're over 100 across West Africa, driving through the net. And most of us went to the road network, not the air. It shows the passion we have built from start. More. So after strategizing, the next slide, we need to now empower ourselves and ensure we speak the right language. The communication was strong. The motivation was, let's stay connected. Let's keep doing this. After generation, we are now, several generations is coming. We have people from high school going to the colleges and coming out to become evangelists for Microsoft, evangelists for IT firm. And that has been this connectivity we have created. And that collective attitude that we want to change our community. Despite the fact we have this divided along our digital estate, we ensure that we need to attract new opportunities. And that's why now we go for conferences, they call us to meet staff, to speak. And some of our members now are striving on high level. And that is a success story. So we keep on striving to ensure that we keep the communication going. Now, after doing that, the next thing we did in order to keep this going, the next slide, it tells us that we can make it. Now, this is one of those events we have, and this was almost 200 to 500 people in this conference. And what was the story like? We were strong, we are united, and we are collective in our approach. We are not being set back by limitation. We ensure that we create an ecosystem that can strive for IT and increase purpose for young people, for young professionals, for people that want to become great in future. So the use case I'm going to just round up in the next 1 minute or 2 minutes, the next slide, is to tell you what we did as a team. We leverage on overcoming obstacles, local IT people coming together with persistence in doing that. We also leverage on making sure all our user group are targeted. We started with the Azure user group. We went to Power Platform user group. We went to M365 user group. When we started carving out of this several other areas like security, that gave people purpose. I want to be in the Azure space. You join the group. Azure group is over, I think is running over 1,000. From the meetup, there are over 3,000 in their meetup now, as of now. So the grassroots movement, which we started 9 years ago, was a building force where we strive to build ourselves, to come together, to meet, and ensure our membership can strive. The next slide. So in turning it up, the story, I'll tell you three major stories that happened within West African country. One is myself. You can Google it from the. We started creating a community engagement, skilling people by training because we are trainers, and we now have 1,100 people aspiring to become IT professional. And every day I get call from parents, from professionals that, how do I join your group? How do we code? Because we're sure and elaborate in our approach. Then another person is Mawiki Park, is the Kenya largest rural provider, where they are strategically working with Microsoft to do the same. They are not in West Africa, but that's one story that I should learn. And other story that is there. So in crowning this up, the major stake here is that we are able to be intentional about what we want to do. We use what we have to create an ecosystem. We know we might not have the luxury that other continents have because of our peculiar situation, but we are intentional to make sure that within our divided area, we can come together. And sometimes, an example, our funding actually is just like what you called in the Western called crowdfunding, where everybody has to drop something. And the collection of that made us to have events. And that has been our story. The next slide. So striving against the odd. We were resilient. We were not giving up in the West African coast. We're collective, despite our race, different dialect across West Africa, starting from Lagos to Accra, Ghana, to Lomé, to Ivory Coast. We speak to Gabon and also to Cameroon. We're speaking the same. Some of us are French speaking, some of us are English speaking, but the main thing that brought us together is a collective achievement that we're going to join a future. We're going to empower ecosystem and ensure we build a better environment and a skillful environment to make a change that will ripple not only for our community, but the entire Africa. So my story here this morning, because early morning here, is that despite the fact there are odds around, you can still start any community, anywhere in the world, if only you can be intentional and be collective and you can work in one. So I think that's my last slide, I guess. And I'm giving you call to action, as I said. Your environment doesn't define you. We didn't allow that to define us in West Africa. We have the power of coming together to make a difference, which we have done. And I can name several people that is working in Microsoft now at top evangelists down from Africa here. We started small and we're captivated to make influence even in the large scale. Then we are building together. We are not isolating ourselves. We came together and we have that time and we had those efforts and we made it reality. I said, time for any user group is now. Don't ever give up. There's time and there's reality when you work together. Thank you very much. And I hand it over to Emily.
Seyi, Augustine, I don't think I've ever smiled so much during a presentation. I'm so inspired. It's amazing. I'm just blown away by your persistence. Like you said, the vision, the power of the collective, the power of food, Augustine, also, I think. But I love both of your stories. It's really incredible and very inspiring.
Thank you.
And another thing and I'll let you guys both respond, but I think what you also mentioned was that consistency as well, like people knowing, and if you're showing up with passion and you're creating those partnerships, you both mentioned like the ripple effect or like the tipping point. It will happen. So awesome story. Thank you both. Anything you want to add?
Everything is possible if you put your mind to it. And that's our story. And we know the next generation after us, we should continue to breathe that up.
Actually, I'll give a proverb. It's an African proverb, actually. I mean, if you want to reach somewhere fast, you go alone. But you want to reach somewhere further away, you go in a group, right? And that's what we are as a community. That's most important. We want to make sure that we we have also come to a bit of hardship. Like, I mean, have my privilege to be working in US, Europe and all that. But we see our local, like there are obstacles, there are hardship, there are folks with that have been historically very disadvantaged in terms of access to technology and all. What we are trying to do is make sure that we bring our privilege, bring our advantages, and we kind of lift them up in both access as well as the availability, as well as the opportunities for these kind of stuff. So that's most important. We're giving up. We've seen all the hardship. We want to make sure that that's very less for our folks going forward.
So cool. And it doesn't matter where you are, right? I mean, just look at that growth. So it is really inspiring. Thank you both so much. I almost don't even want to move forward because your stories are so great. And now we're going to go into some updates, which are also inspiring and great because all of our community members and people within MGCI are doing great work. I should put in here, please feel free to scan that QR code or click that link and give us some feedback on the talks today. But now we'll talk a little bit about our subcommittees, which are doing incredible work. I'm just like in awe of the last two stories. So we've got a few subcommittees and I'll run through a couple of updates and then hand it over to Tom, who's going to give some updates on his end. So the communications work stream committee, I think the big news is that we got our November newsletter out. You can, if you've subscribed, you receive it by email. And if not, you can go to the community hub on the MTC and see the newsletter there as a blog. It's always a great feat to get that out. So please check that out. In terms of sponsors and sponsorships, there's not a lot of new business or new updates for this month, although I know we're placing a lot of emphasis on this going forward because sponsorships is so important to communities, to the growth of communities. So please stay tuned and check it out. We're going to put some documentation together and also do some trainings on how to go about gaining some sponsorship. So please, like I said, stay tuned for that. And then I'm going to hand it over to Tom, who is going to talk about community days. So Tom, over to you.
All right. Thank you, Emily. Hi, everybody. I'm here to tell you about all of our fantastic updates on community days. So again, go check us out, communitydays.org. Next slide. Okay, so last month has been a month of optimization. So we've been doing a couple things behind the scenes, really not much on the front end just yet. So a lot of page optimizations on like the homepage and the events page in particular. So cutting down what's known as the bundle, like the package that gets deployed, and optimizing the card images so that we saw some images are really large, so we trimmed those down. We made it faster, more lightweight, so it's better on the mobile and in remote regions where the internet is not as great. So like when you're at a conference, and everyone's using the internet, you need to every little bit counts. So we're going to be continually slimming down and optimizing as we release updates. All right, so we removed some older features, kind of cut down the code base, things that weren't being used so much, things that we can just clear out, and general bug fixes from the community reporters that are out there. All right, so next slide. So those are rolled out now. What we're working on next are a couple features that are pretty high on my list here. So saving an event as a draft, which we'll look at a picture. I'll give you a little bit more, but we have a little bit of a lengthy process to go through to get an event up. There's 8 screens, and while we don't collect information from every screen, it's nice to be able to go in between those things and to see what's going to be required. We tell you what's going to be required, but sometimes it just makes a lot more sense to see what's going to be required. So we're going to unlock that feature hopefully within the next few weeks. And then the next one, which we've been getting a lot of complaints, I'd say, I don't know, not necessarily complaint, but suggestions on that, this event has been listed as free, but when I click on it, it's like $15 or $10. And it's relatively, a lot of these freer events are charging a couple dollars just to reserve because there's limited seats. They got to buy lunch, right? So we want to be able to show, reflect the labels properly. 2 years ago, this wasn't a problem. Most of the things were free. Nowadays, a lot of people are reserving fees because we have to pay for lunch and it's hard. It's hard to budget for lunch when you don't know who's coming. So that's the reasoning behind that. And we think it's a good feature to have. So we have heard it 1,000 times. The last person was Haniel out of Toronto. I think he was the one that had said like, we want this for AI Toronto. And so I'm trying to get that out there. Next one up, this one was from, I'm sorry, go back one more real quick. So working on it, social events, we're going to be adding all kinds of social events to your event listing. So you can list your meetup.com site, your Blue Sky, your TikTok, your MySpace, your whatever you have on there, your YouTube channel. So we're going to just unlock that so that, as your event organizer, you can provide all your links, on your event listing. So it's a more richer experience. And the last thing that we're going to be doing for the end of the year, I'm hoping to squeeze this out for the end of the year. It would be great. Badges for the top speakers and top organizers. And so what this is, Emily, go to the next one. The next, so it's kind of a concept. It's an idea that I'm having. I'm just playing around. I would like to, for our speaker board, these are our top community contributors, to be able to give them a little award on their profile. So speaker board, highly controversial. It's all the free speakers that are out there. So if your event is listed on community days and it has run events or Sessionize, which are content platforms that do call for papers, and if you're a speaker, you know what those are. We will absorb those into our system and sort of index them and show you like who's the top dog in the community, speaking circuit type of thing. And there's a lot of folks out there that have put in a lot of time and they deserve recognition for that. So, and they usually, and why this is important, because I'm a speaker too. A lot of us go out, we pay for our flights, we pay for our lodging, we show up, we do our talk, we network with the local communities, and, that's about it. So this is a place where they can go and see, hey, these are all the events that I did, or other people can see these are all the events that they've done. So it doesn't count paid sessions. That's because it's community focused. So we have a couple concepts here. Carl Carawani has been helping me look at these, and we're just not, I'm just not 100% locked in on what I want to do yet. So that's why this one is under development. And next up, okay, so I mentioned the saving as a draft. This is, again, look, if you can see on the left, the number of steps that somebody has to go through to list a meetup. I mean, not a meetup, to list an event. There's quite a few. Some of those dots only require one or two things. So it's not like overwhelming, but the first time you see it, it can be like, I just don't have the pictures ready. I don't have the link to I don't know the address. I got to go look it up. I don't have the call for speaker link. I don't have the code for Sessionize. So you got to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So previously you had to go through the whole thing in one shot, which I now know was quite annoying. So we're, this is hopefully going to resolve that. Like, you can save it as a draft, and then you can assign it to, you can invite a co-worker or co-organizer and have them finish it too. So you both can work on it. Not at the same time. That's a whole nother thing. But all right, next up, this is kind of the concept behind the free low cost. Like, we would just show you all events and then give you the option to filter them down, right? That if you've ever seen the bar on the left side, if you're on the events page, there's a white bar there. If it's closed, that means you've already closed it, but you can pop it open and see what the filters are. And then for the event organizers on the right-hand side, like, we would give you options. You can pick one or more, because you may have a free workshop and then you might have a paid, all we do is link to your registration page, but your registration page might have free option, paid option, virtual option. That's just typical how we see things going. So trying to be as flexible as possible for everybody. Okay, next slide. And can't finish up without thanking our wonderful volunteers. We have, if you go to our website, communitydays.org/about, you will see all of our volunteers. And a lot of this month in particular, in the past 30 days, we have Bob German, Shari Oswald, and Peter Ward, all out there giving me feedback from the field, from user experience. This is what they want to see. We have event organizers, and so now we all you have to do is contact me. We work together on something, and then you make it to the website, and then you're up there forever. But you'll be showcased for 3 months, and not just this call, but the other PMP community call as well. I call out the monthly organizer. So thank you. It's really important that you give us feedback. I do listen to all of it, and we queue it up and then and get to it eventually if it's high priority. So thank you everybody for that. Last thing is we do currently have a process for event approvals. It is right now 1-person job. I was doing it. I trained my replacement, and now Mike Matarani is doing it. He's doing a fantastic job. But what we want to do is create a small group of us that can deliberate, if you want to call it, about the events that are being submitted. And usually it's a no-brainer. We publish them all. Occasionally we get a user group that just doesn't fit. So we want to have a team so that we can work out, do that outreach, work with them, find out, find out how we can get their event listed, or if we can help them change it to get their event listed, right? Because we don't want to turn anyone away. That's not our goal. Our goal is to get everybody up there, but we just don't have the capacity for all the user groups in the world. So that if you have the user groups, the place to be is the Microsoft Tech community. They have the functionality to handle user groups now. So go check there. And if you're interested in signing up, click the link here, MGCI, AKMS, MGCI, CDO Tech sign up. Excellent. All right. So just a quick little highlight of where we are in our journey with our traffic and analytics here. This gives you an overview of where we are for the full year. So you can see the waves of the seasons that we go through, the event, early on in the beginning of the year, lots of events, lots of traffic. You can see some of the higher clicked sites, like DC is very, very popular area, Nashville, Community Days, Twin City, New York City, Toronto, AI, Philly, and it's a global thing. So if you go to the next slide, you'll see our visitors from around the world. It's not just US. It just started here in US, but it is there are lots of global events on the platform. So you can see this year our active user base was 51K, and we have just a small representation on the left. You can see the countries that are active on the site. And you can see our top users on the right hand, top countries with users. Again, I believe this is for a 30-day period, the bottom, but I'm not 100% sure on that now. Now that I think about it, because I did mess up the chart to the right of that. So this chart on the right, 712 events, is the total number of events. This is brand new, and this is also on the About Us, on the About page on Community Days. So you can see it grow. It's a live chart on our site. So right now we're set to 185 for this year, and we already have 20 of them queued up for next year. So we're looking forward to another 200 plus events, and just to see where it continues to grow. All right. And I think that might be it for me.
I think that's it. Awesome. Thank you, Tom. Yeah, I mean, I just love seeing the globe, the connectedness. I mean, we've got Seyi from Africa, Augustine's here from India. There's events all around the world. Community Days is a huge triumph. So check it out if you haven't already. Just to quickly talk about our training work stream, we are finished with our training events for the year. big, huge thank you to Sharon and Wes for all of the awesome stuff that they've been presenting over the last 12 months. And so we're going to be taking a break for November and December. We've got the U.S. Thanksgiving holiday coming up in November that it conflicts with. And then a lot of people are out for the holidays coming in December. But we will be revving back up with Wes, who's going to talk about finding and managing sponsors. And then we've got the dates all through 2026 lined up as well. If folks could take a chance to scan the QR code or click the link, Sharon and Wes have a question for you. They want to learn a little bit more about what you want to hear about. So giving you the information that you need. So that is it from the training perspective. This is our final general session of the year as well. So we went out with a big bang. There, again, is no meeting in December, but we do meet the third Tuesday of every month at 8:10 a.m. Pacific time and 5:10 p.m. Pacific time. We try to make sure that we're able to hit all parts of the globe by having those two different sessions for you to join live. And then, of course, we want to hear from you, just like Seyi and Augustine, who just presented. We're always looking for great presenters, people who have things to share. We love success stories, hearing what the secret recipe is and what you all are doing. So please take a moment, if you've got something to share, to fill out the form and submit a topic that you want to share with. And it can be you, or it can be with a co-presenter or a few folks. So yes, we welcome that for sure. And definitely want to talk about MGCI on MTC, Microsoft Tech Community. You can catch us there. And you can see there's all sorts of resources there. We've got links to blogs, discussions, the events that are going on that are MGCI related. And then we're also on adoption.microsoft.com. And so this is a place where MGI is showcasing our overall initiative, the advisors, and about us and our history. So if you haven't heard, Ignite started today. Many MGCI members, MVPs, RDs, and other folks are at Ignite in San Francisco. Many are joining from around the globe. So obviously, in-person registration is closed, but you can definitely still catch the actual live sessions that are being streamed, and you can also catch recorded sessions as well. Also want to give a big plug to all the community things that are happening around Ignite. There's meetups in New York, a couple of them, community days in DC, and the bottom link is all about community at Ignite. So please go ahead and click those links if you have some interest in any of those things. Also, a glance at looking forward and what's upcoming. MVP Summit is going to be in March in Redmond. We've got the Microsoft Ability Conference coming up also in March. That's a digital event. And then Build, dates yet to be announced, but that will be taking place sometime in the spring. Take a moment to breathe in our amazing board officers. Thank you, board officers who are heads and heading up our subcommittees. Really appreciate all the work that you do in tying this community together. And oops, I just navigated a little too far forward. Stay, like I said, please stay connected with us. Seyi and Augustine talked so much about connection, grassroots efforts. It's all about the people, whether it's, two people having coffee in a room and having great conversations, or connecting people all around the globe. This is where the magic happens. So stay connected. Also, plugging Mondays at Microsoft. Caruana and Heather do this. It's a live stream. I think their next Mondays at Microsoft is coming to you live from Dublin, which will be awesome. So catch that one. And I'm saying catch a lot. I can't remember, but Heather was saying bananas a lot earlier. So there's always a catchphrase during these sessions. There's Copilot Hub and community. You can check that out. We've got news and community content on Learn. There's another link for Mondays at Microsoft. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for attending. Sorry, 1 minute over, but big thank you to our presenters. Really wishing everybody a great holiday season. And Seyi, Augustine, super early in the morning, so really appreciate you coming with so much energy and sharing such great knowledge. So thanks to everyone.
Hey, pleasure to be here and good for sharing. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Everyone take care. Have a great day. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.